Hello, Ravens fans, and welcome to our season preview. I'm Aaron Schneider, Sports Information Director at Anderson University, and joining us for our Anderson football season previews, Head Coach Jonathan Coddington. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for putting this together.
All right, well, first to kick things off, what are your goals and expectations for this season?
Yeah, really excited, for this year. We've got a really good group of guys, great coaching staff. I really enjoy working with those guys a lot. From the staff coming back from last year, and a lot of key contributors coming back from last year. As well as we'll have some new guys in the mix playing some various roles. But between the combination of just the quality of people, we've got a lot of great guys on the team. That are also really good football players, and it always is a good combination to have.
All right, and then going to what would you say your team strengths are?
Yeah, we've been, spending a lot of time in training camp. Obviously, we do a lot of football activities, but also, we spend a lot of time just doing team building, team bonding stuff. I think one of the things that this team is, doing well is they're coming together, and chemistry is something that's hard to always build with a group of about 100 guys, and trying to be very intentional about that. I think we've got a lot of guys that are really bought into how we're doing things here, and so seeing the investment that they're willing to put in, from the workouts to the practices to the time spent on their own. I think individually we've got a lot of guys that are really committed to their success individually, which ultimately leads to us being a better football team that way.
And you might have even answered a little bit of the next question, but I definitely want you to get the opportunity to talk about this. Tell about the Raven way and what that means at this point in time.
Yeah. So, as we talk about, our culture, identity, who we're going to be, we've kind of started this year with our team of talking about, like, our goal, our mission. What we're trying to do is we're trying to develop these guys, to be champions in every area of life, on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in their spiritual life. There's so many ways we want to help these guys grow, and the kind of the formula or the model of our attempt to do that is what we call doing things the Raven way, and so that is just how kind of should guide how we think, how we talk, how we act, how we operate, whether it's on the practice field, on game day, in the locker room, in the weight room, in the dorms, in the classroom. Just a way of life that we want our guys to adopt. And so we talk about loving one another, that the relationships are the first and most important thing for us, and we've got to be a group of people that comes together as great teammates, and we show love towards each other, and in that we reflect Christ by doing that. And we talk about having the contagious positive energy on the field. I think that comes in the belief that we step out on the field and believe that we can be successful, and that confidence should come from the preparation that we put in. That type of energy is contagious, and we got to be able to have that. And we talk about our guys being all in. Mentioned we've got a lot of guys that act that way, and that sometimes you're going to agree with stuff, sometimes you aren't, sometimes you feel like doing stuff, sometimes you don't. But it's choosing to say, hey, I'm going to be all in with this and what's going on here, and that takes a little bit of being able to almost kind of put yourself second and put the team first, because if you're all in with what the team needs, that may not always be what you want. But we've got to have guys adopt that mentality, and we need guys who are going to be all in regardless of what situation's going on, and having a championship level standard to everything. We want to build this program to be at a championship level. Obviously, we want to compete for championships, and the trophies and the rings and the hardware that comes with that is awesome. But more than just that, our goal is to build a program that is doing everything at a championship level, and ultimately that's what leads to those championships. If you're doing things that way, that's the destination. And so that's our goal, is to build this thing to that point where we're competing at a championship level. Practice field, game day, in our workouts, guys in the classroom are kind of treating their academics that way too. That's our goal.
All right, and then we'll eventually go more more positionalized breakdown and go a little bit more thorough. But I do kind of want you to hit a little bit at the top. We've got a lot more veteran leadership than we've had in the past returning for this year, and I'm pretty sure every single one of our all conference returners, all conference players is back this year. Tell us kind of like our captains, like our senior leaders, some of the key people, kind of just at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the offensive side of the ball, returning for senior year, Julian Hogan was a slot receiver for us last year. Was second team all conference player. Led our team in a lot of statistical categories. Found himself in the end zone quite a bit. He'll be a focal point of the offense again this year. He's a captain for this year's team as well too. Just love the dedication that he has to making himself better and doing everything that he can and leaving it all on the field. And so to have a guy like that back, that other people, the young guys, can come in and look at and see, to be successful, it takes working hard, it takes doing things this way. He shows that. And he may not always be the most vocal guy, at times. He speaks up when he needs to, but he's a great leader by example and really puts in a lot of hard work. And so, having him back is going to be awesome. A couple pair of guys, on the offensive line that were all conference guys last year. Senior Quinn Dryband, he's going to be a captain for us this year as well too. Junior Jackson Elder, who he's been in all conference, lineman his freshman and sophomore year, coming back. Those two guys have been anchors up front for us that, you can always count on them to be doing the right thing, to be working really hard. They've had great off seasons, got a lot of strength, gains, and really excited as, those two, lead us up front. And, that's where it all starts, is up front. And we've got to be able to, dominate, on the line to be able to play the style of football we want to play. And, we're excited about having, both of those guys, coming back. The defensive side of the ball, a pair of linebackers, Jake Simpson and Gavin Renners, both were all conference last year as well too. They both, Jake will be a captain for us this year. They're both, worked really hard as well too. Have had both great camps. Both have come back putting on a few extra pounds of muscle, and they're excited to give some opponent, quarterbacks and running backs, a hard time this year. And so, they've been, real focal points of our defense. Have both been really vocal, through our spring practices, training camp of just, enforcing how we do things and doing things, the right way and doing things the Raven way. And excited to see them take another step forward, in the defense this year. Connor Huffman, another returning all-conference player at linebacker or at defensive end for us. He's been, one of the most consistent guys throughout his time here, and he's a captain again. Was a captain on last year's team as well too. The one that just about every teammate points to of who's the best teammate, who's the guy that always has your back. It's going to be Connor's going to be that first answer, and excited to see what he could do. Getting after the passer, stopping the run. So really excited about him stepping up, to lead. And then we've got our final all-conference guy on the offensive side of the ball, Dietrich Johnson, coming back at tight end, as well too. He's battled a little bit of some minor injuries in camp. Be coming back here, pretty soon with us, and excited to get him back on the field.
All right, so now kind of just working our way around the depth chart. Let's go one at a time. We'll start with our skill players, our quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. How that's going to look this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, coming into this year, Zach Montgomery is going to be our starting quarterback. Transferred, to us back in January. Did spring ball with us, did the off-season workout. He'll be a captain as well too. Got elected by his teammates, and he's put in a lot of effort to be able to obviously get to the point on the field where he's at, but also just earn the trust of teammates. And excited to see him, as we get into our season. He's a very smart player. Does a good job protecting the football. Excited to have him, leading our offense. At running back, really we're gonna have three guys coming back, from last year's team that all played in various roles. We've got senior Jacob Holyfield, we've got junior Travis Moon, and sophomore Marquand Taylor. And Travis had an injury early last year, wasn't able to play a whole lot. Played lacrosse last spring, did a good job on the lacrosse field. Excited to get him on the football field again this fall. He's looking great. Jacob has been a guy that has just grown tremendously each and every year that he's been here. He's played a little bit of a utility role too. We've put him out at receiver, put him in the backfield, done several things with him. I think we'll see a similar type role for Marquand as well too. Marquand as a freshman last year, played in several games, started a few games at running back, returned some kicks, and so the combination of those three, I'm really excited about what our run game, is gonna look like. And then at the receiver position, Julian, the one coming back with the most experience. Aside from him, some of the other guys that played a lot last year, aren't back. We graduated, Ted Lamson last year, who had played for several years. A couple other guys that aren't back on the team, and so we're excited to see some new guys step into some roles. Some guys that were with us in the spring, but also some incoming incoming guys through, way of transfer and freshmen that are gonna, have some opportunities, and we're excited to see, who can produce and get it done out there at receiver.
And then, rounding out the offense, let's go into our tight ends and our O line. We've obviously talked about Dietrich Johnson, and on the O line, Quinn Dryban and Jackson Elder. Who are some of the others that you're looking to see make an impact?
Yeah, absolutely. So at tight end, Dietrich has been out a little bit in training camp. Caleb Pipes has really stepped up. He'll be a junior this year. Has done a great job both in the run blocking as well as in the pass game, and so he'll be I think looking to play a really big role this year, and excited to see what we've got out of him. We've got Dre Malo as well too, who's a senior. Tight end that'll be in the mix there as well too. At the offensive line, Garrett Corwin is a returner for us. He'll be at our center position. He actually started last year at defensive line, moved over partway through the year to O line due to some injuries, and I think fits in really well there, and he's been excited about that. The chemistry's been great. I think we'll have a couple of young freshmen in the mix as well too, kind of rotating in at some offensive line spots, and so overall though it's a really good crew, and excited about them.
And then next step going through the D line.
Yeah, so defensive line, it looks a lot different than last year, which I think is a really good thing. Connor Huffman, being the constant of played a lot last year, going to play a lot again this year. On the other side at defensive end, we've got DeMarco Cooley, who played a little bit early in the year, but had some injuries last year. Really excited to get him back on the field because he's a dynamic playmaker on the D line, really powerful, really strong. Siddiqui Traore is going to be starting at defensive tackle for us. Also, just like Connor and DeMarco, all three of them are from Pendleton Heights High School, so great to have some local guys, all together, starting on the defensive line. Leonard Rand will be another starter for us, that came in, as a freshman this year. Excited what he's gonna be able to do from Las Vegas, and we'll have some other rotational guys. In D-line's always a spot where you need 7-8 guys, being able to kind of play all year long, and so we'll have some young guys rotating in that mix as well too. But overall, that's a really, really good crew that I know our offensive line would say this in practice. Man, they've been hard to go against, and so it's a good sign when when you've got a really, really strong group up front.
All right, and then going into the linebacking core, of course, some solidity with Jacob Simpson and Gavin Runners. Tell us about some of the other impact players you see at line.
Yeah. So on that second level, we've got Matt Shams as well too, who's going to be a senior this year. Logan Alexander is going to be a senior. So having met so many guys with some great college football experience, is awesome. All great guys. All work tremendously hard. To put themselves in position. Some of those guys at that position tend to be guys that are pretty big impact players on special teams as well too. And so we'll expect to see them in both of those phases of the game.
All right, and then let's go into the secondary.
Yeah, so secondary. So as at corner, we've got two guys that didn't play for us last fall. Have transferred in to AU. Kind of one at each semester. With Antonius Hurd, Zaire, Prelu. They are doing a phenomenal job. Out there, kind of locking things up on the outside. Both come with some previous college football experience, and they're both great athletes, really confident in their play and their ability. So excited to see that. At safety, Ricky Bell, started a lot of games last year. He'll be coming back again. I think we'll have a few other guys in the mix at that other safety position that are still battling it out, which is an exciting thing. And then we've got a couple young guys that kind of are hybrid safety outside linebacker position, that have been getting some opportunities. And so big, I think one of the biggest jumps for us defensively this past year is just the athleticism on the back end. We've got some guys coming in that that they can fly, and they can play the ball really well. I'm excited to see what those guys can do. I know they're hungry to get after the ball. They're hungry to hit people, and they're ready to go.
All right, and then let's round out the roster breakdown with their special teams.
Yeah, so specialists this year, we've got Corey Layton, who's going to be, working, as our kicker, field goals, extra points. We've got two guys that'll be, handling some other duties. Elijah St. Pierre coming back from last year, punts, kickoffs. He was also our holder last year, and Justin Beeler, will, add into the mix at punter as well too. With those three guys, really confident in what they can bring to the table. and Eli DeRuza is going to be our long snapper. He's one of our tight ends, as well. He and Corey were actually high school teammates last year, and so excited. Got some chemistry there already. Excited for those guys. And Coach Williams, our offensive line coach, special teams coordinator, he's been doing this, for a long time. Really, really intelligent coach. Does a great job having those units prepared. And I definitely believe that that's going to be a reason we're going to win football games this year. Is we're going to be great on special teams.
All right, and then I'll kind of give you a couple layers on the final question. What does your team need to do to be successful this year, and what does your team need to do to continue to set the foundation for the Raven way for years to come?
Yeah. So we talk about when we get into the game plan. We have what we call our plan to win. We're not just hoping to go out and win games. We're not just wishing it'll happen. We gotta have a plan put in place, and we look at a lot of things that probability and statistically improve your chances of winning games. And so, when we talk about playing our brand of football, Raven football, first it comes with the belief. We got to step on the field and believe that no matter who that opponent is, that we've got a plan in place to be able to beat them when we can. Are we going to always win every single game? I hope so, but football would tell you that's not going to be the case every single year. Are we going to have a great play every single play? I hope so, but again, probably not going to happen through the course of a game. But we got to have that belief coming into it, and then we've got to have a really sound plan. So we talk about before anything, we got to not beat ourselves. There's things in football that can lose you football games. Penalties, mental errors, bad effort plays. Those things got to be eliminated. We got to make sure we play a clean game of football. Winning the turnover battle. We put a lot of emphasis on great ball security on offense, creating turnovers on defense. When you are in the positive in the turnover battle, your chances of winning increase exponentially. We talk about wanting to control the game, and we've got some statistical categories of you have more positive plays than the opponent. Odds are, you've got a better chance to win the game. We measure the field position battle on, covering kicks, things like that. We do a better job in those. We set ourselves up to be more successful. And so, wanting to have control over some of those, winning, those, third down and fourth down battles when offense has to stay on the field, defense has to get off the field. We win those, we're more likely to succeed. And then, football's about the big plays, and you never know when the big plays are going to happen, but you always look back at the end and say, what, these 5 or 6 plays were the ones that really, won the game for this team or lost the game for this team. And not knowing what those are, some of them come in some like key moments, like in the red zone, towards the end of the game, on our third and fourth down on a special team. So, we've got to have good plans for those, but it's just creating explosive plays by doing the right thing. I'd love for us to be able to, have an explosive play where we just run outside zone for 75 yards and a touchdown. Like, that's awesome. Or it might be, through the route of, designing a trick play where we can have an explosive play and go from there. But, we need to try to manufacture some explosive plays. We also just need to, do our assignments, do our job, and trust that when everybody, all 11, does their job, we can create big plays that way too. And, at the end of the day, we do all of those things really well. We're going to come into the fourth quarter, and, we might be up by a score or two, down by a score or two, but it's going to be a game in the fourth quarter if we do all those things right. And at that point, we got to win that fourth quarter, and that comes down to, grit and heart and effort and just outwilling an opponent and continuing to do those things that got us there to that point. And so playing just really sound football, obviously then we, bring in the offense, defense, and special team scheme, each week that, sometimes it looks a little different, but at the end of the day, we want to mold that around what our guys do best and, utilize their skill set well. And so, that's kind of our approach, week in and week out. That's what we're hoping to see, go into every week, the plan is obviously to win that football game and do whatever it takes to be able to do that. And so I'm excited for this week 1, excited for every single opportunity after that. And our goal is just to approach it the same way each and every week and not look too far ahead. Obviously we've got certain games on the schedule that we're really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
That some guys are excited more than others, whether it be a rivalry game. There's always special things with homecoming game, the home opener, all that type of stuff. But right now it's all about week 1. It's all about this week and this opponent.
All right. Well, actually, I did skip a question. Let's talk about Alfred State. Let's talk about your opener.
Yeah. So we're heading to New York, which will be a fun trip, about an 8-hour bus ride for us on Friday. So, looking forward. I think the cool thing, there's a lot of bonding experiences that happen on those long road trips. And so, we've got, I think, a great opportunity. It's a team that, as you look at the roster, I think there's a lot of similarities in the sense of, they've got a lot of guys coming back with some great experience. They had a lot of success last year, winning their conference. conference and going to the playoffs, and definitely a lot of respect for Coach Lynn and what they're doing at that program. We're excited to step into that environment and to be able to be tested really early, and so looking forward to what that matchup brings, and just really for us though, it's about playing our best brand of football.
All right, well, I think I've covered the question I wanted to. Ravens fans, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow along with any more previews and any more content we may put out on YouTube. Of course, follow along with your Ravens football team as they compete this year. The first contest is this Saturday. It's at Alfred State. It'll be at 12 p.m. Coach Coddington, thank you for joining us, and good luck this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron.